Welcome back to the Holy Hangout podcast. Today we are talking all things dating. We're going to be doing a live review of my old Hinge profile. We're going to be looking at the top Google searches about dating, and then we're going to touch on topics that we've struggled with personally, like external validation and idolizing relationships. There's tons of good information in here. You are not going to want to miss it. Devin, thank you so much for being on.
Of course, I'm so happy to be here.
I'm excited. We met at the porch.
We did.
It was a total random thing too. Like I ended up meeting one of your friends. I complimented her on her boots when I was walking in.
Yep.
And then she asked me randomly, she's like, "Are you sitting with anybody?" And I was like embarrassed, like, no.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You should sit with us." And something I always start with every podcast for every guest is how I've seen Christ in them.
Yeah.
And for you, it has been like, you have been the most welcoming human being ever. Like I instantly felt like you were just like, yeah, come on, like, let's go. Cause I was worried,
It's like a cliquey kind of thing.
Yeah. Cause a lot of times it can be, So I really appreciate like how open and like generous you've been just with your spirit. Like you've just been very warm and welcoming. So
thank you. Yeah. I try to be, but also it's super easy when a person as amazing as you walk in. So.
You're sweet. You're so sweet. Yeah. I appreciate that. So I asked you on because I wanted to talk about dating stuff.
Yeah.
And we recently were talking about it in the car and it was like, dang, this is like a podcast without the mic.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
We need to just record an episode and talk about some of the things. So I wanted to start with the top Google searches for just people in general. And then we'll go to the top Google searches for men asking questions about women. And a fun spin on this though is I want to answer it in a sentence or less.
Yeah.
So I'll ask you the question and then you answer it in one sentence or less. Okay. And do the answer for you. Don't do the answer that you think like other people would say.
Right.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Awesome. All right. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
All right. Rapid fire dating questions. Let's go. Okay. Number 1. How do I know if I'm in a situationship?
If you have to ask multiple times to see them.
Ooh.
Because if they like the whole thing is, if they wanted to, they would. If someone really wants to spend time with you, they will change everything in their day, or at least, make plans ahead of time to see you and to make it happen. So if you feel yourself begging for their attention or begging to see them or text them or anything, like, yeah, I don't think it's there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. How to turn a situationship into a relationship?
Don't. Good answer. Walk away.
Yeah.
And then see how they react.
Yeah.
Because I've done that and it worked and it turned into a relationship, but it was maybe not the best relationship.
Totally.
So I would first don't, but if that doesn't work, walk away.
Yeah.
And then see how they come back.
I agree. I think at least for me, like dating, I'm always dating in order to try to find like a future husband.
Right.
And if he's struggling to commit to like boyfriend girlfriend status, like
he ain't gonna commit to the husband situationship. Pisses me off because there's no difference between what you're doing and the amount of time you're spending together and everything like that. It's literally just a title. So if you can't give me the respect of, and my mom says like, oh, he doesn't own you, but she doesn't mean it like that. It's not like he's not wearing you proudly, if that makes sense. And you want him to, you want your partner to. So it's like, if he doesn't div me, if he doesn't own me, like he doesn't want to be like, that's my girl right there, then I don't want it, So that situationships piss me off. Everyone has to go through it. It's a canon event, but
I agree. I don't remember it, not to sound like old, like I'm 25,
yeah.
You know what I mean? But even like in the history of my dating, like I feel like it's more so a recent thing that situationships have come up. Yeah. So anyways, that's a can of worms. We'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
All right. On to the next. Should I keep in contact with my ex?
This is hard to say, but no. And unfortunately, I'm the person to be like, oh, cutting off all ties, like whatever. And then I'll be like, wait, I wonder how they're doing. Like, I wonder if they miss me. And then I break that barrier. And that's the worst thing that I've ever done as being an ex. So no, don't.
Yeah. I totally agree. I don't think anything good comes from that. I think unless there's like, I need this item kind of situation.
Yeah.
But even then it's like,
it's just everything happens for a reason. So if you guys ended, the first time, the second time, whatever it may be, it should stay that way, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Should I forgive a cheater?
Oof. I forgive, not forget, is what I would say to that. I've been cheated on, and I got back with him after that whole thing. And it was always a part of our relationship, and it's still a part of me that I'm still getting over. So just be aware of how big that burden is. Because if you welcome them back into your life and you forgive them, quote unquote, then you can't hold it against them anymore. And that was a point of contention for he and I. It was like every fight that we had, I'd feel that pit of anger in me, and I'm like, well, you did this to me, and that's so unfair for him because I, signed up to do this thing again. So if you choose to do that, I guess forgive, not forget, in the sense that you can never forget what they did to you. But if you do choose to forgive, and you have to be really strong in that, like, you have to lead with that. But I think it's unfair for someone to be like, oh, you can't bring it up anymore, or like, forget about it. Like, that's, I don't know. There's a fine balance there.
Right. Like the hurt was done. Like, that's still there. That doesn't just go away.
Right. Exactly.
But I like the point of like not bringing it up and using it as a weapon.
Right.
Because that can very easily happen. Yeah, that's a hard situation.
Yeah. It's just as dangerous as, I'm not going to say as doing the cheating, but the hurt will last a lot longer than the action of them cheating, at least in my case. So there's a lot of power in that hurt, and you can use it to heal your relationship and kind of work on your relationship with yourself more so than with them. But like, that hurt can reflect on them and hurt them just as much too.
Yeah, totally. Dang, these are good. It's hard to give one answer.
I know, like, the one sentence. Sorry,
they're like juicy. They're good though. This is like good information. Okay, so we said that we shouldn't keep in contact with our ex. Should we follow them on IG?
No. This is hypocritical, but my ex follows me on like LinkedIn, social media, like all of it, but I don't follow him at all. And I needed that, like, because I found myself checking, constantly what he was doing, where he was going, if he got a new girlfriend, all this. And then I was like, Devin, this is so unhealthy. You don't deserve this. Let him live his life. Like, you guys ended things. I don't think that you should follow your ex on Instagram.
I agree. I think I had somebody explain it to me as like neural pathways, especially like right after the breakup, whenever you're trying to like separate,
right?
You have that constant, like, you have such a thick neural pathway from having this relationship with them, and now you're trying to like separate that.
Yeah.
And so whenever you keep looking at them, you like keep lighting up that neural pathway to where it's like that's all you think about, and it becomes obsessive. At least it has for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, no, I block my exes. Like, I like straight up just,
well, that's the thing I struggle with now. Like, I've blocked exes in the past, like whatever ones I dated for like a month in high school or something. But like, the ex that I keep referring to, I can't get myself to block him because the selfish part of me, my ego, is like, I want him to see me happy living my own life now. Like, I want to prove to him that I'm happy without him. Yeah,
I get that.
So I'm still working on it. I should block him, but that's something I'm still working towards.
I get that.
Yeah,
totally. All right. How to make them want a serious relationship. These are top Google searches.
Yeah. I just feel so, like, I've done it too. I've searched these, you can't make someone want a serious relationship. You can't push someone in a corner.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Now on to the top Google searches for men specifically.
Terrifying.
Right? Okay. How to know if a girl is interested. One sentence.
Oh, that's a hard one. Because I feel like everyone's different. So I'll try to give a general answer.
How about for you? Like, one sentence. You're interested.
Ooh. When I see them, if I give them something or like bring something up from what they've told me, if that makes sense. Like, if you told me your favorite snack was this type of chip, and then the next time I saw you, you'd be like, oh, well, like, I was just in the store and I walked by these, I thought I'd get them for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very, like, acts of service, I guess. Like, that's, if I start, I don't know, giving you a little bit of that.
Remembering the details.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I love that. Okay. How to impress a girl on a first date.
I would just say be a gentleman.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to touch a door.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay. Like, sorry, mom's got to eat, but she's not going to pay, Especially on a first date, because that shows that, I don't know, that you actually care to some degree.
Sure.
And especially not bringing up anything sexual or.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think, asking good questions too.
Yeah.
Like if it's thoughtful questions, not just like, how many siblings do you have? What do you do for work? And stuff like that. If it's like
actively trying to get to know you more.
Yeah. Like questions that maybe I haven't been asked before, then it's like, oh wow, like he has, like he's smart.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. How to tell if a girl is using you?
Ooh. Only text you when she needs you.
Yeah. Or like to go to like do something.
Yeah.
Probably.
Or like my car needs fixing. So like I need you to go do this type of thing.
Yeah.
Or like late night texts too.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, it be, sexual or otherwise.
Yeah, I agree. All right. What do girls mean when they say I'm fine?
They're never fine. I've never once been fine, and I've never meant it when I said it.
For sure. What would you, this is not one of the questions, but I'm curious, like from your perspective, what would you recommend a guy to do if he got that response?
I would push, but not in a way that's pushy, if that makes sense. I would dig deeper.
Like what's an example? Like
if I said I'm fine, I'd want my partner to be like, well, I know that's not true, but if you don't want to talk about it right now, I'm here when you're ready to. Mm-hmm. And then I would want him to this is what I would do for friends. Like I would get them their favorite treat or like flowers or something. So I'm like, I know you're not fine, but you're not ready to talk about it. Just know that I'm here when you are.
Yeah. That's sweet. Yeah. All right. Last one from the guys. Why do girls test guys when dating?
I think everyone tests everyone. I think that's what dating is.
Fair enough.
It's a test to see if you can last, if you can make it. Mm-hmm. But I think girls test guys, and I'm trying to think from a guy's perspective, to see if they're worthy enough, maybe. Whatever that may mean to the woman. So like if it's manly enough or if it's sensitive enough or, empathetic enough or something like that.
Yeah. I think for me, it's like stability.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times, and I actually heard a psychologist talk about this on another podcast where she was saying like a lot of times women will they will test men's emotional stability. Mm-hmm. And that's why they'll kind of like push. Because one, they want to make sure that they can't push.
Right.
Because I know I've done that in the past and in dating relationships where it's like I'm trying to like find the line, even if it's subconscious. Yeah. Like looking back now, I can see it, but in that moment, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm testing. Mm-hmm. But it was always unattractive to me whenever they would like bend over. You know what I mean? It was like, no, I want you to tell me no.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that.
But even though I might be mad in the moment, like I think subconsciously that's why I tested men, is to like see if they could be a leader, Yeah. And then the stability. So 100%. Like if they're talking about girls testing a guy like emotionally, then she's probably looking for like the emotional stability. Like, right. Will he lose his cool? Yeah. But on the other end, I think for me, it's been like, will he stick to X, Y, and Z? Yeah. Yeah. So I agree, though. I think we all test whether we want to say we do or don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Now on to some of the questions I was curious about. Mm-hmm. So if you had to put it on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate dating apps and why?
0. I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that I hate dating apps, but they're unfortunately the only thing that I feel like society turns to right now. Like I was just talking to my high school friend who I just grabbed lunch with. He and his girlfriend met in school, and they're like, "Oh, how's dating out here?" And I'm like, "It sucks." Like dating apps just take away, I don't know. It's all based off of looks. And if I saw you in a bar, I guess it'd be based off looks too. But there is 0 in the sense that it's the same conversation repeatedly with whoever you match with. Yeah. And then maybe you go to text, and then maybe you go on a first date. Yeah. But it's like there's so many, I don't know. There's so many steps to get to that. And it's so shallow and like, oh, well, he didn't text me for 2 hours. Like, I don't think, you know, like, come on, dude. Like, you don't have to do that all the time, Yeah. So 0. I hate them. But I'm on them. So.
I get that. Okay. How do we avoid situationships?
I think you avoid situationships by having boundaries, but more importantly, enforcing them. And that's something that I'm working on myself. And I keep telling one of our friends who's currently in a situationship, it's one thing to say you have boundaries and, voice them, but actually enforce them is the most difficult part about it. But you have to be strong in doing that, because a situationship is when you keep letting someone like break those boundaries that you're having, because you're like, oh, making an exception. Oh, but it's like, it's okay. It's only the first time you did it. Oh, it's okay. Like, we've only been talking for 2 months, Oh, it's okay. You didn't mean to say that. Like, that's not or he's too busy. Ugh, you're not too busy. Like, I know you're not, you know?
That's so true. Because I do think that there is like a huge difference in setting the boundaries and then keeping the boundaries. Yeah. I think for me in the past, it's come down to like, I didn't have the self-confidence to put that boundary.
Yeah.
Because I would think like, maybe this is the best I can get, or
honestly, he won't like me if I say this or do this.
Yeah. But if he wouldn't, then it's like, that's not hubby
no,
material.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think more so recently I've been able to put up boundaries, and there is a different like aura around in the feeling around whenever you do put those boundaries. Because I think it also says like, hey, like I'm worth a certain value.
Yeah.
I'm not just a thing that's whenever you need something you can.
No, or you like spending time with me. That's great. I don't need any more friends right now.
Right.
You know, like I deserve better. And if we've been talking for X amount of months, or, you know, like introducing you to people or spending time together, like
yeah,
like I know what I deserve. And like you, it was a self-confidence thing my entire life as well. And I feel just now I'm starting to be like, I don't need to do this anymore. You know, like I don't have to entertain this.
Totally.
Yeah.
You mentioned the not needing any more friends. I'm curious, do you think guys and girls can be like platonic friends?
I think girls can be platonic friends with guys. No, I'll say yes, because a lot of my closest friends are guys. And we've never crossed that boundary. Not because, let's say, like I didn't want to, sure, but they didn't want to either. Like it just wasn't there. But I don't know. I think it's a maturity thing too. That's why I initially said I think girls can be friends with guys, but it's a harder thing for guys to be friends with girls. Yeah,
I've heard a lot of guys, they'll mention and they'll say like guys are only friends until they see like the opportunity kind of thing. But I'm not a guy. Like But
I've heard that too. And my ex was like, oh, I don't want you having guy friends. And I was like, we've been best friends. Like one of my closest guy friends in college, I was like, we've been friends for years and nothing has ever happened. And we've never even talked about that. Like, I think that's an insecurity on his part to think that I'm not mature enough.
I get that.
If that makes sense.
I think on the other side though, like I actually wasn't okay with my significant other having like female friends. Yeah.
But I also get that because it's like, I don't think guys are capable of doing it as well. So I don't know. I'd like to have trust that, you know, my partner could be friends with girls. Like I've never once been like, oh, unfollow her, you can't talk to her, whatever. But
sure.
But at the same time, I think it's more difficult for guys to be just friends with girls.
Yeah. I think it's risky either way. I think I think for women, at least for me, I knew that was like anytime I'd be in like a dating relationship, I would cut off any like male relationship that isn't with something else, like work or something else.
Yeah,
obviously, but I would, and the only reason is because I feel like for me, it would be like an open door in the sense of if something wasn't going right, it was like, well, not that it was necessarily an option, but if I knew that the person was only talking to me because they were like friends, I don't know. I felt like there was like maybe some kind of comfort or emotional stability there.
Yeah.
That I would seek or be worried that I would seek.
If there was a void in your current relationship.
Totally.
Yeah.
So I feel like if everything's going good, then it goes great. But like if things go bad, for me personally, I feel like it would be an easy thing to want to grab towards and be like, go rant to my guy friend about my issues.
Right.
And then I feel like for me, it would be like, it could very easily turn into like emotional
dependency.
Yeah. So that's me though. I
understand that. There's definitely times in my relationship where I was going to my guy friends and complaining about this, you know, but I don't know. I guess it was, I've always surrounded myself with a lot of friends, I guess, both female and male. And so I never felt like I was depending on just those guys.
Totally.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. Growing up with an older brother, like I was way more comfortable with guys.
Yeah. And I have a sister, so that would make sense.
In your opinion, what are some green flags in a relationship?
In a relationship? Or like at the start of one when you're like talking to or dating someone?
Well, let's say the start.
The start?
Yeah.
So if I'm just seeing this guy like a few dates in, I'd probably say being a gentleman's a huge thing for me. Like chivalrous. Like I said before, I think they should open up doors and stuff like that. Paying gets a little iffy once you're like actually in a relationship. You can go 50-50. But I would say, like you were pointing out earlier about engaging and actively asking questions and wanting to get to know me, not the basic ones. I I feel a lot of times when I'm on dates, I'm asking the guy so many questions because I'm like, men, but everyone love talking about themselves. And so if you ask them questions about themselves, you're like, oh my God, like she must really like me. I'm important to her. Like she wants to know. But it goes both ways, right? So if he's asking me questions, that's a huge thing. Like I want to feel sought after. I want to feel like he wants to get to know me. Mm-hmm. I would say if he's able to keep up with my humor, because I feel like I have a pretty niche humor and sometimes it can come off as mean or bullying, but it's like my love language, like it's making fun of you type of thing. So if he can keep up with that and if he can give it right back, I love that. Like that's perfect. Like keep me on my toes type thing in that sense.
Like a healthy flirt to roast
ratio. Oh my God. Perfect. Oh my God. Marry me. And how he treats others, like how he treats servers too. Like I'm someone who I can talk to like almost anyone. I like to make friends with servers or whoever, you know, is around us. And so if they're able to do that too and not kind of like quiet down, I think that's a good sign.
Totally. I totally agree. The part of like chivalry,
girl, same, yep.
Being a gentleman. That alone, I feel like just, it honestly is shocking to me whenever I meet a guy and he'll like open a door because it's so rare.
Oh my God.
I can tell you, I've probably been on 2 dates where men like specifically, I'm like, oh wow, he like opens the door and like follows some.
Really?
Like, yes. And even the point like I go get milk from a local farm.
Of course you do.
Yeah. And I was walking up, this is earlier this week, I was walking up and this guy, we both kind of came to the entrance first. Yeah. And the door's already open, but he like went like gestured to the door for me to go first.
Yeah.
And I was instantly like, do I love you?
No, I was like, are we getting married? Yeah.
Stuff like that, like just even out in the wild, like they'll be kind. And there's even a verse in the Bible that talks about that though, that she'll be attracted by his kindness. I think it's in Proverbs.
Really?
Yeah. And so I think it's something that's probably innate, right? Like we want to know that they have like a nurturing or caring side, but I think it's also important to know that like he's a provider and cares.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of where that comes from is like, are you going to take care of me?
Right.
So I think that's what we kind of seek, even if it's subconsciously.
I think so. And I think it's funny coming from California, having grown up there my whole life and then moving to the South for school now. Like I treasure that so much because that's just not a thing in California. Like my sister, she's out in the wild too, like, you know, struggling with the apps and everything too. And she's like, I always ask her, oh, did he open up the door? Did he pay all this? And she's like, no. I'm like, get out. Like, what are you doing? There's so many people that want to do that for their woman. And I don't know, like you should think that you deserve that too, even though it's the smallest thing, you know?
Yeah.
Like I didn't realize how heavy a door was. You're right. You should open that for me, you know? Like, come on.
Totally. I agree. I heard this really good quote too that reminded me when he was saying like, you know, like the gender roles for people in the Bible, right? Like women and men. And for men, it was like being willing to lay their life down. Like he was supposed to be like Christ in the church.
Yeah.
And women are supposed to be the church. But this guy, which is like, you know, submitting and having those gender roles. But right. I heard this guy put it so beautifully. And he said, men, like, are you willing to lay your life down for women? Women, are you worth getting a life laid down for you?
Yeah.
Like, are you worth dying for?
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh, man, I don't know.
Yeah. But it does go both ways.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So it's like,
does.
You know, but we're talking about guys right now. So
yeah.
For any of the guys listening, be like just another checklist. Like we're aware there's things we need to do as well.
No, 100%.
Okay. Now red flags, other than like the opposite of those things. I think that's pretty easy. Sure. I guess they would all be the opposite of those things, but any other like things that you could think of that's like instant red flag or even like ick, like something that he does and you're like, ugh.
Yeah. Any mention of exes, I don't think you should, you know, talk down upon them if you're especially pursuing someone new. Like, I don't want to know about that yet. Like, you don't know me. Ask me about my family, not my ex, you know?
Yeah.
Icks. Bad hygiene. That's probably the biggest one. If I always look at fingernails first. And I'm not saying I've gone out with people who bite their nails. No, like my sister bites her nails. I get it. Like it's not icky to me. I'm just like, that's something I kind of make a note of in my head.
Totally.
You know? Just good grooming, I guess. Icks come later, I think.
That's true. So I feel like there are little details that probably you wouldn't even think about, but they do make a difference. So I think hygiene is huge.
Yeah.
Like because that's the first thing you can only go off of too. First impressions, you know? So yeah, I totally agree. I can't think of any other red flags other than the opposites, right? Oh, if he is not consistent with communication, red flag.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm not great on my phone. Be great on your phone. Like,
yeah, like
I just don't understand.
Yeah, and the thing is too is like I think for a long time I thought consistency was nice but not needed. But now I'm realizing like consistency isn't just something that's nice; it's a requirement.
Absolutely, it is.
So
absolutely,
yeah, that's a huge red flag. Or mixed signals.
Yes.
Oh yeah, like if they're like, oh, like I think maybe I can like see something down the road later.
Yeah, I'm not ready for a serious relationship right now. Okay, bye.
Yeah, I made the mistake of not doing that before though, where I'm just like hanging around.
Me too. Don't get me wrong.
Hoping like he realizes I'm the one.
No, absolutely. That it's definitely a canon event. Like we all have to go through it.
Yeah.
But I actually just ended things with a guy a couple weeks ago, and we'd been seeing each other for a while, and then he said something, and he was like, "Oh, I have to figure out if I like you." And this is 2 months in, and he just went to my office party. Like, you know, my parents know about him, his parents know about me, the whole kit and caboodle. And I'm like, after 2 months, you don't know if you like me or not? Like, you should know. So I said, we should see other people because clearly I'm not giving you what you need, and sure as hell not giving me what I need right now, especially with that answer, you know?
Yeah.
And so I guess to your point about inconsistency, like actions lining up with your words too.
Yep.
Because like we'd been spending almost 4 or 5 days together, you know, and then all of a sudden you don't know if you don't like me or know if you like me. Like,
yeah,
come on, dude.
I think it's really easy to, and I've been guilty of doing this in the past, where I would keep somebody around because I want the attention or feeling that they give
100%,
me.
yeah.
And I heard this really good question that kind of deciphered, like, do I like this person or do I like their attention?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, if somebody said that you're a lot like this person, would you think it's a compliment or would you be offended?
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that makes things real
clear. You're like, I gotta go. Yeah.
But I think it's a good way to be like, okay, am I just, because honestly, that's not the loving thing to, I've done it in the past, I'll be the first to say it.
Yeah.
But realizing like for me, I was like, okay, that's not the loving thing to do, is like keep this person around because of the way that they make me feel or that they make me feel desired.
And when we had that conversation, I told him, I was like, it's totally cool if you don't like me or you don't like me as much as you thought or wanted to at this point. Like, that's totally fair. I can't control how you feel. You can't control it either. And I'd rather us have this conversation now than, 6 months down the road when I'm like, why aren't we dating yet?
Yeah.
Because I would have done it. And I said, I feel like you would have ridden the wave of me not asking questions or me not like having this conversation until you had the time to figure it out. He goes, I absolutely would have. So I'm happy that we're having it. So it's not like his fault or anything like that. It was just like, man, I really wish that I maybe pushed for this conversation earlier. But in the same vein, I wish that he realized that sooner, you know?
Yeah. I think that's like the hardest thing, especially in the beginning, is communication, because kind of like we said previously, you don't want to scare them away.
Right. It's like that balance that you're trying to find.
Totally. Because it's like, yes, I'm looking for a husband, but no, I'm not like the crazy person that's like, God told me you're my husband.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Yeah.
But it's a line, you know what I mean? Where it's like,
for sure.
So I don't know. It's like, hey, I'm looking for something serious, but I'm happy single.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for the right person, not just anyone.
Right. I also find it difficult with the apps because I feel like I'm playing God in a sense, and like I'm picking and choosing who gets to enter my life as a relationship and who doesn't, if that makes sense with dating. Like, like I'm not waiting for God to send me a man like delivering my milk from the farm or something like that, or like coming up to me at Trader Joe's, even though I would love that. Like I'm choosing to let my ego pick via pictures as to who I want in my life, who I think I want in my life.
Totally.
And that's so difficult for me because I'm like, I'm starting this new journey with God where I'm like, I want to submit to him and give him everything. And, including my love life, like it's all in his hands. And I know that, but then I'm like, like it's lonely on like a Tuesday night. I'm like, well, I'll just download Hinge again, and do it. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate this though. They're not rewarding. I feel like it's not meant to be. I feel like I'm forcing it, and it's just so difficult to find that balance between like, I guess my impatience and trusting, if that makes sense.
Totally, 100%.
Yeah.
I think that's probably like the most relatable thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I'm really telling myself ever since I started going consistently to church here that I like really don't want to focus on a relationship. I want to prioritize my relationship with God. But then I have these moments where I'm like, oh, but a boyfriend would be so nice. Like I'm in the airplane and I see like this sweet couple sitting next to me. They're probably like in their 70s. And I'm like, that's so cute. like, God, come on, dude. Like, please, I've been good. Like, come on.
Yeah.
But then the whole thing about when you least expect it, it's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like I'm in this constant like stress state of I'm expecting it, but I'm not going to say it because I want it to happen type thing.
Yeah. I feel like I've also been in seasons where I'm like trying to juke God out, where I'm like, yeah, I don't want anybody.
Exactly. Like, wow, would really hate to have a boyfriend right now,
right. Yeah. So I totally relate. It's a hard situation to be in. I think that God can use something like a dating app, but I think that we have to choose to involve him. Yeah. And I think that's probably the biggest thing, because I felt the difference of involving God with my dating life and controlling it and it becoming like a legitimate obsession.
Yeah.
To the point where it was like I am doom scrolling on dating apps.
Yep. 100%. And if I woke up and I didn't have 50 people who liked me, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm ugly.
Yeah.
They don't like me. Like, I have to fix something about myself to do it. And I'm like, they don't know who you are.
Right.
And these pictures were taken like 6 months ago or something like that. Like, it just, the numbers, it's a numbers game at the end of the day with dating apps.
Totally.
You know? And it's like, oh, do you want to pay for Hinge? No, because then I'm like adding to that fire, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's so frustrating sometimes, but I'm like, that's why I delete it, because I'm like, I just can't see it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't.
I totally agree. We deleted it until this episode.
Yeah.
Because we'll be rating our dating apps at the end of this.
Oh my God. That's terrifying.
It is terrifying. But no, I totally agree. I think it's a dichotomy, which is the hard part. I was at a coffee shop last week and I don't know if you've ever done this, but I'll ask ChatGPT to psychoanalyze me.
No, but I'm going to tonight.
And I was like, why do I have this feeling? So like, okay, I realized I was going in the coffee shop and I was looking at everybody, but I was like, do they like me? Like,
yeah,
are they
okay
looking
with
at me? Or like, did I smile big enough? Like, did they smile at me? They look like they're mad. Like, it's like constantly trying to like figure out what they think. I was like, all right, ChatGPT, psychoanalyze me. Like, why am I doing this? And it was the biggest reason that at least resonated with me was like the external validation.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back to like the same obsessive nature that I had with dating apps. Mm-hmm. And I think obviously it's going to come out whatever way, but it was a realization for me, because it was like, okay, like I have to stop seeking external validation to say that I'm worthy.
Right.
And so it even had an affirmation on there. It was like, try this affirmation. I'm
really?
like, okay. Yeah, ChatGPT is like my new counselor.
No, I was going to say, I can't afford a therapist. Let's go ChatGPT.
But it was like along the lines of saying, like, I do not need external validation. I know my worth.
Yeah.
And like, I literally, like, even at the gas station today, I was going in to get a Celsius and I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what are people going to think about me? Like, I'm wearing like workout clothes because I'm going to CrossFit. So they're not like booty shorts, but they're like shorts. You know, they're like spandex.
Yeah.
And so I'm feeling like really uncomfortable about to go into and I'm like, I do not need external validation. Yeah. I know my worth. And I'm just like,
I like that. Yeah.
It actually has been helping a lot. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But yeah. Psychoanalyze yourself.
No, when I get home, I'm 100% doing that.
So you're out in the wild. We're at Trader Joe's. You see a cute guy.
Meet cute. Yeah. Dream.
How do you show him that you're interested?
I walk by him about like 2 or 3 times and try to make eye contact with him like once. Yeah. And then that's it.
I think proximity is huge though, because I've done the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
I saw this cute guy by the apples. This was like months ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, he is so cute. And so I'm like going over, I don't need apples.
No.
But I'm going over to the apples and I'm like grabbing one. He literally like jumps, looks at me, and then he's like, oh, I'm sorry. And I'm like, this is not the...
I know, no. You're so close.
So he moves out of the way and literally lets me grab apples. I'm like, bro, I'm not even here for the apples.
No, I'm here for you. Oh my God. No, I have to be better. I tell myself every time, or I tell myself rather daily, that I'm like this strong, independent woman that I can, you know, if I want something, I can go out and get it. Nothing's stopping me. So every time I see a cute guy, I'm like, okay, I literally, in my head, this is my dialogue. I'm like, okay, I can do it. This is it. This is the time, and we're going to fall in love. We're going to date. I was like, he's going to be amazed that I go up to him, right? Never do it. Like, I always chicken out. But I'm always so disappointed that I do. Because, like, nothing bad could happen, really. You just, like, get a no. Like, that's fine, you know?
I feel like we could handle it like any other conversation too. I think I get in my head, because if like going to the porch when we were talking to strangers, it was just like, I'll start with a compliment and it never goes wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's just like, hey, I love your jacket. But I think it's so hard to communicate that you're interested and not just being friendly. Like, how are you like, I think you're cute, without literally saying, I think you're cute.
Right. No, a couple of months ago, I was in Aldi by my house, and this man, oh my gosh, he was like, what I would dream of, you know, in a partner. Physically, of course, never talked to him, obviously. But like I was going, I like literally not following him aisle for aisle. That's weird, but like definitely being aware of my surroundings. And I was like, where can I best position myself so he can see me? And I like cute, I had a little tennis skirt on. And I was like, this is gonna happen. He's gonna come up to me and we're gonna fall in love. And then I walked out, and then as I was walking out, we like made eye contact, and I was like, dude, like I so should have just like ponied up and did it.
Yeah. But like, what do you say?
I don't even know if I ran into it at Trader Joe's. I have no idea.
Yeah. I also do want to be approached though.
Well, of course I'd rather be approached, because then there's the side of it where it's like in my masculine, I'm like, oh, well, I'm a strong, independent woman. I can go talk to him, you know? It's like there's two sides of the coin, because I don't want to scare him off and be assertive. I'm already a loud personality as is. The last thing I need is for him to be terrified of me initially, if that makes sense.
Totally, I agree.
Like I have no problem talking to new people, like at the porch. I love it. But like, there was a guy literally at church last week sitting behind us who was super cute. We kept looking at each other, and I was like, I want to say something, but I don't want to scare him. Like, I don't want to be the first to do it because I don't want to let him know that I'm masculine, you know?
Yeah.
So
I agree though. Because also, I think a lot of times if you've had, I think for me, my masculine side has come out because of trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times as I've healed, I've been trying to like fall more into the feminine side.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately that's where I'm happier.
Yeah.
But whenever you're like scared or stressed, it feels like that's the first thing that wants to come out.
Well, yeah, because that's your fight, right? So you're like, I have to protect myself.
Right.
Fee, fi, fo, fum, you know? But like, I'm just like a cute little dainty girl inside, you know?
And I am though.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to lean back into that. So it's trying to figure out how to show like I'm available.
Yeah.
Without pursuing directly. Because also I think that kind of steals it from the guy.
Yeah, I agree.
Like I want him to have that win too. But then like, how do I show you like I'm interested?
I'm open, please. Please.
Just be like,
yeah, I'd be like, wow, God, my ring finger's like cold without a ring on it, isn't it?
Yeah. Man, singleness. Man.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like,
yeah.
What dating app are you on?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's
Oh my gosh,
that's it.
No, what we could do, we could go up to them and be like, I haven't seen you on Hinge before. You on a different one? Or like
that's good.
Something. Oh my God, I don't know.
Pickup line, we got it.
Yeah, write it down.
I love
That's
it.
our mission. That's our homework for the week. If we see a cute guy somewhere, we have to go up to them.
Okay, I'm terrible.
No, we have to hold each other accountable. We can do it.
Okay.
It just takes one.
Yeah,
it's like ripping the Band-Aid off, so we can do it.
Sounds good. Next cute guy, I'll be like, what dating app are you on?
Yeah, no, let's do it.
Okay, I'll keep you.
No, I'll call you. Please.
I'm serious. I'll do it. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right. Do you wait a certain amount of time to text back?
Okay, so I used to do the whole like eye for an eye thing. If they waited 2 hours, I'd wait 2 hours or whatever, especially on Snapchat. But then, you know, in the past couple of years, I'd say 20 to 22, I'm just like, F it. Like, I don't need you to think I'm cool or you think I'm cooler than you to text you. Like, as soon as I see the text, I'll respond to it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not playing a game like that anymore. Yeah, it's so exhausting to do that.
I used to do the same where it was like, okay, like I'd literally count the time.
Yeah.
Like, it can't be right on 30 minutes because then they're going to know. So I'll do like 32
Yeah, should I do 28 minutes and seem like too eager? Or like,
yeah. So I used to do that. And then I read a book called Outdated. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about like, just give up the games. And like the person you're going to attract is going to be somebody that also doesn't play games.
Yeah.
And so that was like a realization where I was like, okay, if somebody's going to judge me because I text back really fast, and it's not just significant others, it's everybody. Because the type of job that I have, I'm available pretty much always.
Yeah.
And so like if my boss texts me and needs something, like I want to be available in there.
Absolutely.
So I always have my phone on me. I pretty much always check it. Like I'm very on top of it.
Right.
So I reply back pretty fast. Like within 5 minutes.
Oh,
much,
100%.
Unless I'm like at CrossFit or something. But yeah, so then I was always worried that it would make me look like needy or whatever.
Needy or too eager. Like, oh my God, she's crazy. She's like texting me a lot. You know, like I don't. No. Yeah. As soon as I see it, I'm just going to respond to you because I would hope that you do the same for me.
Right.
You know?
And even like a guy, if he responds back quickly, I see that as a positive.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think it's hot if you respond to me fast.
Yeah. Triple text?
No. Oh my God. Reply to one of mine? Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, please.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I love it.
I agree. I talked to somebody for a period of time and he would like reply to every part of a text message.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so attractive.
No, I was like, I think I'm in love with you.
Literally.
Yeah.
Communication, man. It is sexy.
It so is. And it's underrated in the sense that I feel like people don't really emphasize communication nowadays, especially with apps. But I think that's so sexy if a guy can respond to me quickly.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I'm like, oh, whatever, I'm really busy today. Oh, what are you doing today? You know? Oh my God, let me tell you. Yeah. And then you could expand on that. Like that's another part of the actively, you know, pursuing me and wanting to get to know me.
Yeah.
That's so attractive to me.
And also if they're busy, like communicating that and being like, hey, like I have a booked day.
Yeah.
I'm going to be like MIA.
Yeah. Cool.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like,
I'm like done versus like just saying like, say you're to the point where you're like, good morning, good night kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you just say good morning and then you're MIA until good night, then you're like, what did I do?
Well, then, yeah. What did I do? Like, did I say something yesterday that freaked him out or something? Is he with a girl right now? Like, I don't care. And I am really pushing myself to not care about that so much. But like this guy I'm texting with now, it's funny. We matched on Hinge a couple times since being here. And he's actually good friends with my college roommate. Or not good friends, but they ran in the same circle in high school back in Florida. And so like he kept saying on Hinge, he was like, this is actually one of the most fruitful conversations I've had on Hinge. Aww. And I was like, that's such a compliment. Thank you. We moved it over to text. Great texter. We went on our first date. Phenomenal. Like we were laughing the entire time. And he's back at home for the holiday for a few weeks. And he's texting me all day, every day. And when he's not, like, last night he didn't text me for a few hours and I went to bed and I woke up to the first text being like, I'm so sorry, I've been so bad at texting, like I've just been with my friends. And I was like, that's totally okay, like I'd rather you be with your friends and not text me. And the fact that he communicated that, of course I was like, oh, like why hasn't he texted me? But then him saying that, I was like, it's so fine, have a great day. Like I'll see you when I see you, you know.
Say less.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. I agree. Communication's key.
100%.
In all things. Saying you're interested, not interested, saying you're busy, not busy. Like,
yeah, I appreciate it regardless. Doesn't matter.
Over communicate when in doubt.
Please, yeah. Because I can't shut up. So as long as I know that you're busy, but you don't want to have to shut up, then we're on the same page.
For
you
sure.
know?
I agree. And I'm a really blunt person too. So like I'll just like if somebody asks like, hey, are you interested? Like I've literally told people like, yeah, I don't have a romantic connection. Like I don't feel that.
Yeah. And it's uncomfortable sometimes for sure.
Is, but like I hate sugarcoating. Like I just want to like
no.
just say what it is.
Yeah.
You know. Although I was guilty previously, I have not been on a dating app since July. But I was trying to play it cool with this person. I was just like, yeah, like I'm not interested. Like whatever. Like, you know, you want to hang out, whatever, sure.
Yeah.
Dude, that was the worst thing I could have done. That was like the one time that I actually wasn't blunt and been like, hey, I'm interested.
Yeah. And
I heard this quote and it said, unspoken expectations are premeditated resentments. It was 100% what I was doing.
Oh, definitely.
Like I ended up being like, why isn't he like pursuing me? And why isn't? But then I was like, wait a second. I haven't made it clear that I'm truly like still interested. Like I haven't communicated what I'm looking for clearly. So it was definitely like an introspective look of like, okay, where do I need to grow? Yeah. And that's probably been the most helpful thing because ultimately I can't control what the other person does. And I think anytime I've tried to, I go crazy. Yeah, definitely. It's like, okay, draw a circle around myself and fix everybody inside of it. Yeah. Like, what can I do?
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And I think that's something that I've learned to prioritize just in this new season of life. I'm so over because I've spent literally 22 years of my life, you know, thinking about the external validation that you were talking about earlier and like how I can perform for other people and, you know, make them like me, whatever, or, you know, be as pretty as I can for them or something. And I'm just so exhausted with that. And that's why I'm so excited about this new journey with God and this new like chapter of our relationship because I'm like, I want to give it all to him because all that empty validation, all that empty energy that I've been, you know, searching for and providing, like I want to devote it to him. Like think about how much time, and I don't want to say energy again, but like how much thought and I guess attention I've given those people. If I gave that to God, like, oh my God, I'd be so fruitful, you know, not like in whatever I have in life, but, you know, just with my relationship with him, if that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah.
Because I went to a Thanksgiving service, I think it was like a year or two ago. And it was my college town. And she had this woman was giving us a sermon and she had 3 plates in front of her. And it was an empty plate, a plate with crumbs, and a plate with plastic food on it. And she was like, what are you trying to eat? Like, when I eat these plastic foods, these fake relationships that I have, like, it's not fulfilling me. I'm still hungry. These crumbs, when people, you know, like breadcrumb you and kind of like I referenced the relationship I had, like, he was giving me crumbs of validation and crumbs of like, okay, this can work. Like I can make him work, something like that. Like this is a healthy relationship, but I was still hungry for more at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And then just the full on empty plates where it's like, you're just searching for something you're never going to get in that person, you know? Then I was like, I keep praying. I'm like, I know I keep eating the plastic food and the crumbs and I'm still hungry. And I pray that I find fulfillment in God, and I know I will, because I know he'll satiate me. Like, I will be so satisfied if I devote all of that energy and all of my hunger, quote unquote, to him, you know? So I think about dating in that sense where it's like the plastic, the crumbs, and the nothing. It's like, okay, well, I could like kind of see it with him. I don't want to force anything. That's the crumbs. The plastic one is like, he just wants something I'm not going to give him right now. You know, he just wants to see me at night, and that's not going to happen. And the empty ones is just like, absolutely not. Like, if that makes sense.
Totally, 100%. I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Because I think, truthfully, for me, relationships became an idol for a period of time. And of course, anything but God is not going to satiate our soul.
Absolutely.
And it's like this empty, it's like a bucket with a hole in the bottom. Like you just keep pouring stuff in, and maybe for a second it feels like, oh my gosh, like I feel something.
Right.
And then it's just empty.
Yeah.
And I think that that's every single time that I've tried to place a relationship in a place that only God should be, which is my validation. Because my validation should only come from God.
100%.
You know, but definitely easier said than done. I won't say like I'm like poster child for getting to that point.
Oh my God, I'm not. Like, I'm literally just starting that. Like, I really, it's so hard for me to push my ego aside and be like, Devin, enough. Like, you keep saying you're going to be better. You keep saying you want to go to church, but you're not doing it. Like, actually push yourself to do it. So that's when I asked you about where to start in the Bible. Like, when you told me, it was so nice because I started reading every night and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I read 3 chapters a night, like you told me to, because I get through it in a year. Like, really, I'm really trying to push myself. Like, put the phone away. I know you keep it outside your room, right? You have an alarm clock. Like, I was like, put it away. I'm only reading this. Like, I only want to devote this time I have right now. And any low time, I would scroll on Hinge, or I would scroll on TikTok or something. Like, I don't want that anymore. It's giving me plastic right now, and I'm actually hungry. You know, mom's got to eat. Okay. So that's my new journey, is me being intentional with God and not so much just praying the same prayers or like asking for things. It's like, I want to show up for him.
Yeah.
So that's my season right now.
Dude, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
That's a huge step.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's a little bit of a trust fall too, right? Because it's like, okay, like I'm going to do these things that may not even be fun in the moment. Because I'll say, like, for reading the Bible, for me, sometimes it is literally like a struggle.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, I need to read it. And I'm like putting it off and trying to, like, because I'm doing the 3 chapters a day as well. Because the church is going through like the Bible in a year.
Yeah.
And so I've been doing that. But then it's like, all right, you're like almost like getting yourself ready, but afterwards I have never regretted it.
No, it's like exercising.
100%.
Like, you dread doing it sometimes, but you're never going to regret it.
100%.
You know?
And I don't know if you've ever done this, but I started trying to like involve the Holy Spirit while reading.
How do you do that?
Dude, yeah, like I'll see something like in I'm trying to think of the passage in Genesis I came to. Anyways, I'll come to something and it's like either a question pops up and I'll have like an open conversation with God while I'm reading the Bible. So I'll be like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Or I'll also obviously pray before for like clarity and stuff like that. But genuinely, like, as if I was studying with you right here, anything I would say to you, or like where I'm like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Or like, good sense of humor.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just talk to God while I'm reading and it makes it come alive.
Yeah.
It is crazy.
I like that.
And it says his word is alive. And I believe
absolutely.
it. But it's like, it's a different level of enjoyment that I've had. And also the clarity that I feel like I've gotten from involving God has been different.
Really?
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. Like, any question you have, like, just ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, a lot of times, and then don't expect a certain answer.
Right.
And I'm telling you, more times than not, like, something will come.
Really?
Yeah, it's cool.
I like that. I'm going to start doing that. I'll do that tonight.
It's super cool. Okay. Oh, gosh. All right. Screen recording. All right. There you go. Let me know what you think.
Okay, CrossFit. Celsius is crazy. That's straight like battery acid. Okay. I love that picture of you.
Which one was it?
This is your profile picture on my phone.
Oh, yeah, it's like all of them.
Oh my God, no, I love it. You take the lead, boom. Am I reading this aloud? Oh, you'll share. Okay.
You can share.
We'll get along if you take the lead, are serious about your faith, love fitness and health, are adventurous, enjoy deep chats, and like to laugh. I love that. I love the Tate brothers. As in like Andrew Tate. Oh my God. One of my ex's names in my phone is Andrew Tate. Oh my gosh. Okay. You with the tree. Like she can help build the cabin.
Honestly, yes. Get me on your homestead.
Yeah.
I'm looking to be that trad wife.
Yeah, exactly. Little house on the prairie. Yeah.
Where's my body?
Yeah. Okay.
See, instantly, like without even trying, I instantly went to the heart. I saw 4 and I was like,
yeah,
oh,
no.
I'm going to go over there. And I'm like,
No, God, waking up. It's like when you post an Instagram photo.
Right, deleted.
Like in Instagram. In high school, I'd post a picture or middle school and I'd like, okay, I can't look at my phone anymore. And then like I'd open it up and see all these notifications and I was validated. I was like, oh, they all liked it. Like it's so popular. The thing is so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing Hinge.
100%.
It's just a numbers game. It's simply for my ego.
100%.
Like I felt like I was not using it for the right purposes. That makes sense.
I agree.
Like I would literally end things with a guy or, just be bored and download it and be like, okay, well, like if I find someone that's great, I just really want to see how many people like me.
Yep.
And how selfish is that? It's like I'm not 18. Like I can find validation other ways now. I just felt myself, I'd pray about it too, like going back into the pattern that I've done my entire life and finding validation in others. And I was like, this is sickening. Like I felt myself just being like icked out with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, if I met me, I wouldn't like me right now, you know? So then that's the point where I was like, I have to change this immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So
I totally agree. For me, yeah, it was addiction to like the validation.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, because I've heard guys have different experiences on them. Like they don't have as many likes.
Yeah.
But it would be to the point of like having so many likes that I couldn't get through them all.
Yeah.
Like it was overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it then felt very kind of like you said, superficial because it was like just looking at the front photo. Like I wouldn't even read profiles because it was just overwhelming.
Yeah.
So then you're like, okay, like, yeah, his face is cute. Like that's literally it.
100%. If his answers were like mediocre or whatever, like, it's fine. Like, no, it's not okay.
Yeah.
And then we matched and the conversation's dry. I wonder why, Devin. It's not because you read his profile. It's because you just thought he was hot, you know?
Yeah, totally.
It's so disappointing.
I agree. But I officially deleted mine. Did you delete yours?
Yes.
Okay,
No, I'm not. That's the devil. Like, bye. I can't do it anymore.
Literally.
2025. Not a single profile.
Let's go.
Not Trader Joe's only.
I love
Trader Joe's in church.
I know, and we gotta talk to a guy out in the wild next time.
Oh,
too.
I know. I'm actually gonna do it.
All right.
Deal. No, if we find a man at church, I'm going to die. Like
That's where I'm looking, man.
Yes, that would be perfect.
I think that's like the ultimate attractive thing too. Is like for me now, it did not used to be this, by the way. But as I've grown in my faith, like. The most attractive thing to me in a guy is like one, biblical knowledge. Oh my gosh. If you can tell me the Greek like root of a word, I'm done.
Oh my gosh.
But also I think just, I really desire a spiritual leader.
Yeah.
And I think recently, like as I've grown in my faith, it's actually been harder to find that because in order for somebody to lead, a lot of times they have to be
like ahead. Right.
Yeah. And so it's like, I'm pouring my heart and soul into learning because I find it fascinating right now, but then it feels like it like lessens the dating pool. You know what I mean? So yeah, church is where we're looking at it. Like we're looking the porch,
Watermark. Yeah. What up?
Yeah. Anybody at the like Watermark or the porch?
Yeah. I think a big thing for me too, going on the church wave, like I don't think you need to be a leader. Although in my case, like I think you are like my leader right now, like in faith. Like I look up to you so much in faith and everything. So I'm not looking for that in a partner per se right now, but that'd be awesome. But I think, and I hate to say this because I was a lukewarm Christian for a very long time, and I still am getting warmer and warmer, you know. But like I think if you actively pursue God and your faith, you're not just like, say you go to church. You're like, oh yeah, I go to church on like Christmas. Cool, I'm happy that you do, but like I want someone who's there weekly. I want someone who can appreciate the word and appreciate my relationship with God too. Because like I've never had that in a partner. I think that's such a sign. That's a green flag. Like that your relationship's gonna be better than your previous ones, I guess, because God's in the mix now and you're including him. But also that like this man is pursuing God by himself, you know, on his own volition. Like, I think that's huge.
I agree.
And also, you know, like, he has the same morals as you in a way.
Yeah.
Because I feel like people here, like, I used to go out a lot, and then the people that I would meet, the guys I would meet there, they're not on the same wave morally as I am, you know? So I think church is a perfect place to find that.
Yeah.
So I really hope that we do.
I agree. I think everybody that goes to church isn't in that category too, though. So I think it's definitely something to be careful about. Because I've talked to guys that even go weekly, but there is not a genuine faith there. It's like a habit. And I've been there too.
Yeah, definitely.
Where I just like go to church every week. So I think that there's definitely like questions and stuff that I've been able to ask that can kind of like decipher.
Mm-hmm. What are those questions?
One of my favorite is like, what is God teaching you in this season right now?
Yeah.
Right off the bat, you can tell like, are they
like, oh, nothing? Like, I'm fine?
Kind of sometimes. Or they're like, I don't know, he's not really teaching me anything. I'm like, he's got a long list.
Yeah. Well, you're just not going to school then. Yeah, because he's teaching.
Yeah. So that's been one of my favorites, because somebody asked me that one time and it like jarred me.
Yeah.
And it was when I was more so in like my lukewarm Christian phase.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually when I realized I was lukewarm.
Yeah.
Was that question. Because I was like, whoa, like I know God wants to teach me things. I'm not being receptive, or they're not obvious to me. So then clearly I'm not connected with God in the way that I should be.
Yeah.
So that was like one of the first like knocks over the head where I was like, oh,
yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure.
I think going to church definitely woke me up, like sports specifically, because I was like, all of these young adults, the majority of them, of course, but like these young adults are choosing to gather to celebrate their faith and to, you know, praise God and sing these songs together. And obviously it brought me amazing people like you, but it just made me realize like these people love God, and I love God, but they show him more than I had in my past. And I was like, I want to be like them. Mm-hmm. Like I hear all these amazing stories about how people are connected to God, and like I have my amazing stories with him too, and I don't take that for granted at all. But like these people, and I think you, right? Like such a big part of your identity, and such a I don't even know what the right word is, but your life is dedicated to him, right? And I feel like my life up to this point has been dedicated to my ego and like pursuing what I want to, and God has blessed me regardless of me being selfish. But like I just look at those people and I'm like, I want it. Like that is the goal, to have that level of relationship with him.
100%.
Yeah. And to be fully satisfied with him, you know?
Yeah. I wouldn't even say that I had a intimate relationship with Christ until about a year ago. Mm-hmm. Like I went through a period about a year ago where I was even questioning if God existed. Mm-hmm. So that to say is like, he moves quickly. Mm-hmm. Like the more you allow for him to take, the more that he will completely transform you. And I've never regretted it. Just kind of like reading the Bible.
Right.
In the moment, it's like, dang, this kind of hurts and this sucks. And these emotions are coming up. I don't really like dealing with them. And then he'll just mold you. And there's a really good analogy. And it talks about how we're like silver and how it heats up. Mm-hmm. Like God gives us these environments to heat up the silver so the impurities come to the top so they can be skimmed off. And it's the exact same thing, like how God works with us.
Yeah.
And that's what I've seen in my life, where it's like, this hurts. It's really hot. It's uncomfortable. Like you're literally getting heated up to a point so these impurities come to the top.
Right.
But then like when they get skimmed off, it's like this beautiful fine silver.
Yeah.
You know?
I really like that. Yeah.
It's all sanctification. But dude, sanctification does not feel good in the moment. I'll say most of the time.
But I'm welcoming that. I want to be welcoming to it. Like I pray that I want it, you know? Mm-hmm. Because it's one thing for me to say like, oh yeah, like want to dedicate my life to God. Okay, what are you doing to do that? Like just going to church? Like that's cool. But it's like, I pray that I want to push myself and I want to show up, you know, not just say these empty words.
Sure.
So it's like I really want that in my life so I can be like a reawakening, maybe.
Totally.
Just a realization too.
The only thing he wants to, that I'm still struggling with, is realizing like the only thing that Christ wants with me is a relationship. Yeah. The rest comes with time. Right. Because I'm a very works-based person. I grew up in a very legalistic church where, you know, like sunset to sunset was the Sabbath. We couldn't eat the unclean meats. Like it was very, like we kept the holy days and you couldn't work on the Sabbath. Like it was very legalistic. Right. And I feel like it still takes a while for me to realize like, okay, like God doesn't want me for the things I can do for him. Truly, I can't do anything for God. Right. The things that he asked me to do are actually for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like when I follow the designs that God has for my life, I literally cannot tell you how much my life is transformed. Like every area that you could possibly imagine has completely transformed.
Yeah.
And it's all been for the best
That's
possible
beautiful.
thing.
Yeah.
And it's only Christ.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've tried to do things on my own.
Yeah. Like that's so cool. Like I admire that so much, you know?
Yeah.
And I would love it. And I don't think I'm a bad person or anything like that, but there's just areas in my life that I can improve upon. And I want to have that like literally come to Jesus moment and that complete 180. Like that is so beautiful to me. And I want that so badly. So I'm not just like doing it to get there. I want the journey as well. Mm-hmm. But like I'm so excited to do it.
Yeah, 100%.
So that's my resolution.
I love it.
I told my grandma, I was like, my resolution is to focus on my relationship with Christ and then also serve too. Yeah. So I want to find a good organization around here to do that.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm so excited.
Sweet. Well, Devin, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you for having me. Literally anytime.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for listening to the Holy Hangout podcast. Be sure to follow us on IG and share with a friend if you found this helpful. Until next time, have a great week of worship.